Because my mummy had a body doesn't mean. I hope you love the show. Look into my eyes, look into my eyes. You'll love the show. When you love it, you'll send me some chicken to my P.O. box. P.O. Box Bernie. My belly is my P.O. box. Welcome to the show! Hello! Hello! Thank you so much for coming out, you beautiful, beautiful people. So listen, when you're a single mum, it's really hard to get childcare. So I'm afraid I've had to bring my baby to work, but you're very welcome. You are very welcome, because they're very lucky to see you, aren't they? This is Bernie. She's a Bernese Mountain dog, and she's a legend. So this show is called Politics for Bitches. Now, I actually wrote this show many years ago. I wrote it, I think, back in 2017. And then I put it to bed. I was like, I've had enough of that show. I'm never doing that show again. Like, ever, never doing that show again. And then Soho Theatre called me like, hey, would you mind doing your show, like Politics for Bitches? And I was like, absolutely not. Over my dead body, never again. And then they were like, we'll pay you. I was like, let's get the whiteboard out. I'm ready. Let's go. And they were like, can you update it? And I was like, sure. I mean, I don't know if anything's happened in the last couple of years, but I'll try. Now, the thing about politics is I've never been interested in politics, right? So it's not normally my thing. Like, my last show was called, like, What Would Beyonce Do? Am I right, ladies? That's more my kind of vibe. But I thought, sure, politics, how hard can it be? Let's go for it. So it's called Politics for Bitches, so I'm sure there'll be people in here that will be like, oh, I read The Guardian, very interested. Yes, Politics for Bitches, how feminist of her. Yes, I'd like to hear how she feels about the situation in Sudan, actually. This show isn't for you, is all I'm going to say. I would just switch over now. There's no need for you to be here. Just leave, guys, honestly. To give you an idea of the level of politics I'm going to be dealing with, it took me ages to work out the difference between the Tories and the Conservatives because I didn't know which one to vote for. That's the level. And if you laughed at that joke, then you're already too advanced for this show, and I would just, okay. But you know what I don't want it to be? I don't want it to be an anti-right or an anti-left, because then that's the fucking problem. Because if I do a show that's so anti-left, then the right have got a view. But if I do it so right, then the left have got a view. And you go, actually, maybe the whole system is just a load of bollocks. And I really want to nail that bit home. So I just don't want it to look like it's a very particular angle show. It's just accountability if you have responsibility. That's all I want with this. Because I hate it when people go, oh, you're left wing or you're right wing. And you go, well, no, I'm just a fucking human being, mate, and I'll take some of that, and I agree with some of it, but I don't understand how it's getting so wrong, right? So that's where I came to the position when I wrote this show and I developed this, because for me, politics just got in my face every day. And I didn't care for politics. Like, I wasn't interested in politics. I'm just trying to live my best life and learn how to contour. That's all I wanted to do, right? But politics is in your face every day and you can't get away from it. It's like, you know when you wake up in the morning, you have a giant penis in your face and you're like, go away, Mr. Penis, just go away, leave me alone. And it's bothering you every day, for the love of Christ, go away. Apart from I'm not like that because I haven't had dick in ages, so I'm like, oh, talk to me, tell me about your feelings for me, yeah. And you realise that every day is political. What do you mean I can't get on the property ladder even though I'm in my mid-30s and I've been working since I was 16, yet you can't give me a mortgage? What do you mean, politics penis? What do you mean I can't see a doctor even though I'm sick today and I have to make an appointment for 3.5 weeks? I'll be dead in 3.5 weeks for all I know. Politics penis, fuck off, right? What do you mean? What do you mean I can't go to a vigil of a murdered woman in Clapham Common to show you the respects, just to protest for some safety? Right, without getting manhandled by the police. Yet a week later, you can get loads of football hooligans sticking up a firework up their arse in Leicester Square and nobody bats an eyelid. And then you realise it's the politics penis every time, and the only way to get rid of the politics penis is the only way to get rid of any penis, which is just to pay it some attention for 5 minutes, then hopefully it will fuck off. That's what we're doing with this show. Okay. See, most people are just trying to have a good life. They're just trying to live their best lives and work hard just so you can afford to keep a roof over your head, keep your belly full, look after the people that love you. Most people are just trying to get by and be a decent person. One thing I hate about the UK is this idea of a class system. I find it so weird. Both my parents are Polish. Like, my mum was Polish. We came over here like 45 years ago. Don't blame me for the influx, but they've all left now, so yay. And I found it really, it's a very British thing to have the class system, right? And for me, the either extreme are very, very similar. So they're very, very poor here and they're very, very, very wealthy and elite here. They're actually more similar than they care to admit, because both of them have way more children than they should be. Just stop now with the babies. Please stop. right? Both of them like to live off the state, right? Actually, guys, maybe stop that, both of you. You're both fucking the same. And both of you blame everybody else for their issues, right? And are completely out of touch with reality. And actually, the people that keep the world spinning, it's us lot. It's us lot getting up every day, going to work, doing our thing, right? We've seen nothing else in the pandemic in the last 18 months. We've seen how it's everyday people that are keeping things going, right? I moved to London a long time ago and I came here with a dream. I came here with a dream because I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to go somewhere. I'd watch this track too. I paid attention. That's why I came to London, right? Thank you, one person that's watched this track, right? I put all my belongings in a little red and white handkerchief on the end of a stick and I left my small hilly-billy town of Farnborough and I was like, I'm moving to London, bitch. I'm going to chase a dream, right? I'm going to be so rich and famous, you're not ready. And all my friends back home were like, oh, you think you're too good for us, do you? Yeah, I am too good for you. I'm leaving. I'll see you later. I'm out of here, right? And I came to London, right? And all your friends back home think you're so fancy, but they don't know. They don't know the truth. They're like, oh, you live next to Buckingham Palace, are you? Yeah, very close, actually, very close. They don't know. They don't know. They don't know that you're sharing a 2-bed with fucking 2 other bitches, so there's 3 of you, right? And it's supposed to be saving on rent, but you've turned the living room into a bedroom, but it's still £1,000 a month, so how is that saving? You do the maths, because I don't fucking know, right? They don't know. And I live with Northerners, and I don't know about you lot, but I fucking hate Northerners. I ain't Northerners. Yeah, I can feel you in here. I can feel you. Have we got any Northerners in the room? Yeah, fuck off, you bunch of cunts. Fuck off. I tell you why I don't like Northerners, right? Here's why I don't like Northerners, because I don't know what your aversion is to the fucking central heating. Just put the goddamn heating on. For the love of Christ. I don't know if you've ever lived with a Northerner. I don't know what is wrong with them. Sleeps with the window open in October. Close the goddamn window for the love of Christ, right? I don't know about Northerners. I don't know how you lot were fucking created. Maybe when you were born, your mothers dipped them in an ice cold bath and left them outside to dry, and those that survived walk amongst us now because their skin is like wolf hair. That every winter I have to have passive-aggressive arguments because I'm like, babe, there's icicles coming up the tap, and I am sleeping in a coat and hat, and I was just wondering if we could put the heating on for 5 minutes, please, because I am paying £1,000 a month for a room, just for 5 minutes. Can't you spoil the kettle and put a cardigan on? Oh, one day, bitch. And living in London is hard. All your friends back home, they're all settled down. They're like, oh, you married, are you? And you're like, no, nobody gets married in London. We're too busy having sex. I'm having all the sex. Oh, I'm guzzling dick. I'm guzzling dick in London, boo. I'm guzzling all the dick in London. And they don't know, do they? They don't know the truth. They don't know. They don't know that in the 10 years you've lived in London, you've had sex twice. They don't know. I don't know what it is. But the only guys that seem to fancy me are estate agents, and I'm sorry, mate, but I don't fancy guys that wear suits with no socks on. Put some fucking socks on. And they get all excited because they think they're all fucking attractive driving around with their Mini trying to give you a free bottle of water. Jog on, mate. It's not what I want. Right, trying to chat you up and they feign a personality. They ain't got personality. They think they have because they're like, oh, they're vegan now. They drink a soy latte. Mate, you do 3 lines of Charlie every Friday just to feign a personality. That's not a dick I want to sit on. No, thank you. No, thank you. You're just trying to improve your life, right? You're just trying to get by. You're just trying to do things. You're trying to be a good person. And your hours are 9 to 5, but you don't work 9 to 5, do you? No, because Mary's in at 8:30, so you've got to show up at 8:25, bitch, just to be like, you can play that game. I can be here early too, right? But you don't finish at 5 because Michael's there till 5:15, so to 5:30 it is, right? So you stay and you do the extra hours because you care. Because you care about your job. So you put in the extra hours because one day it will pay off. Do you get paid for those extra hours? No. Of course you fucking don't. Of course you don't. Of course, but you do it because you're a good person. At school, you played by the rules. You put your hands up. You waited into your turn. You said please. You said thank you. You let other people by. If you can help somebody, you do. You're a good fucking person. You go to Magaluf fucking when you can, even though you're 30 now. You should have stopped going there. Right? But you want to recreate your youth at 19, and you go back and you see all the young girls walking around like baby reindeers with their heels on, right? And you look at them and you're like, oh, I used to be like you. And they look at you like, who's that fat old lady in Magaluf? And you're like, yeah, I used to be just like you. Right, and you do that and you come home, right? And you have your holiday because you deserve it, because you've worked hard all year. You deserve a bit of a break, right? And you come home and you're a good person, right? You know, sometimes you drive home late at night and you're nearly like 2 minutes away from your house and you get to the traffic lights and there's a red light and you stop and you wait, but there's no other cars. You could just go, like just go. No one's going to see you, just go. It's just a left turn, just take the turn. You go, no, I'll wait. Oh wait, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. There's literally no other cars. Just take the fucking, nobody's gonna see it. No, because it'll be sod's law that the one day I'll take the turn. I'll be like, flash, like, no, I'll wait. I'm a good person. I'll wait for the light to go green. You wait for the light to go green, and then you take your turn, right? Because you're a good person and you follow the rules. And by following the rules the whole time, you're so busy trying to keep a roof over your head, trying to keep your tummy fed, trying to look after the people that you love around you, that you don't realize actually what's happened to your money. Where's your money going? And a lot of our money is going in tax. And what is tax? Tax is a dirty word, but it's not. It's just a collection. It's just like we've all gone out for a takeaway and we've all put in our money at the end to share the pot. That's all tax is. It's sharing the pot. But you don't think of tax as your money, because it doesn't even hit your account. If it hit your account, then you pay more attention to where it goes, because you go, actually, that was mine, it's given away. But it never hits your account. That's where they're clever. That's where they get you. Because then it never feels like yours then. So you just don't pay attention to tax because it's not really my money, but it is your money. And for as long as you're paying tax, you've got a right to know what they're doing with it and where is that money going, because you're invested. You're the people power. We are the people power. We're paying the taxes, right? So you look at that money and you go, well, who's spending that money? The people that are spending it are those that we have chosen, we've elected for, and we've said, we want you to look after our money, make the big choices for us. And what's some of the big choices we've made recently? Well, Brexit, right? Brexit. And people don't understand Brexit, and it's fine, because that's what I'm here for, right? I don't know why you're laughing at that. Like, I can explain it really well. I'm a bit offended by that, actually. Brexit, here's how I feel about Brexit. Brexit means Brexit. It's very simple. It's very simple, right? Here's how I feel about it. You know when you go on a night out, right? And it's like a Monday and your friends have started a WhatsApp group and you're like, she's fucking added me to the WhatsApp group. Don't add me to the WhatsApp group. And you really want to delete yourself, but that will get too political. That's real politics, like deleting yourself from a group text message. But you're like, fine, I'll stay in the group. I'll just mute all the notifications. They've changed the profile picture to a bottle of Prosecco and they're like, oh my God, what are you wearing on Saturday? Prosecco, what are you wearing on Saturday? You're like, I don't know, I'm in Pret, it's a Monday. I haven't decided what I'm having for lunch yet, let alone what I'm going to be wearing on Saturday. And what do you think of this outfit? I genuinely don't care. Just fuck off, leave me alone. I don't want to be in this WhatsApp group, right? But you have to make the effort. They're like, come out. I don't want to go out. Come out. I don't want to go out. I want to stay at home in my pants. I'm very happy at home in my pants. No, because you're never going to meet anybody. And if you don't meet anybody, you won't procreate. And then what's the point of life? Fine, I'll make an effort to go out, but I really can't be bothered, right? So it gets to Saturday, you've been working all week and you sleep all day and you're like, fuck it, I'll get ready later, right? And then you're like, oh, it's 5 p.m, I really should start getting ready now. And you go, oh, do you know what, I'm just going to order a Chinese, but I won't get a big one, I'll just get a little one. So I'll just get like half a crispy brown McDuck, chicken and cashew nuts, house special fried rice, crispy seaweed, prawn toast, some prawn crackers and extra side of hoisin sauce on the side. And I'll just have a little bit of a buffet, but before you know, you got carried away and you're like a giant snake that's eating a pig lying on the sofa, right? And you're there. And your friends are like, we're out, where are you? I'm on my way. You're like, shit, now I'm running late. I haven't got time to have a shower. So like, shit, I haven't got time to have a shower, but I've got greasy hair. Oh, I'll get some dry shampoo, but you haven't got any dry shampoo because you run out. So you're like, talcum powder, that will do. So you put some talcum powder in your hair. Now you've got grey hair. You're like, oh, it's a thing, it's fine, it will do. It's a look. That will do, right? And then you go to get dressed, you go to put on some trousers, but you can't, the trousers don't fit because you've come on your period and you're slightly bloated, so they don't fit. I'll put on a skirt, oh no, because I've come on my period. I'll put on another dress, oh no, because my period. It's got nothing to do with your period, bitch, because you've been eating bread every day for the last 25 years. Stop lying to yourself. Buy clothes that fit. Stop buying clothes for the future you that goes to the gym. She doesn't exist. So you're like, fuck it, I'll go to the attic and get my summer box out. So you get the summer box out and you see a pair of shorts that you used to wear when you were like 15 and you're like, oh my God, look at, I used to fit, I've got a picture of me in them one day, right? And you go, and you get a sarong out and you throw a sarong around yourself and you're like, fuck it, with a safety pin on Versace, that will do, right? That will do. And you haven't shaved your legs because you don't want to make too much effort, because I don't know about you lot. You know when you go on a night out and you shave both your legs, when you make a real effort, you never have a good night. You know, the nights you make a real effort, you never have a good night. The nights you make no effort whatsoever on a random Tuesday, you have the best night ever, right? So I was like, right, okay, well, here's what I'm going to do, because I want to make an effort to the universe. I want to say, universe, I am making an effort, but I'm cool and breezy about it. I'm making an effort, but I'm breezy. So I was like, I'll shave one leg. Effort, but breezy. And then you're like, right, I'm getting ready to go out, and I've got to go out, but it's freezing outside. It's October. You're like, I'll call a cab, but it's 5 times the surcharge. So I'm not paying 5 times the surcharge for a cab. I'll get a bus. And you got to go outside and like, oh, I'll put a coat on because it's freezing. You're like, no, stand by your choices, bitch. If you're going to wear a sarong in October, you're going to stand by your choices, right? And you go out, man, you wait for a bus, and it takes ages for a bus to come, and it starts raining, so now you've got paper mache on your fucking head, and you're like, for God's sake. right? And you get on the bus and they're like, it's exact change only. Like, I've got a £20 note, it's exact change only. Well, I've only got £20 notes, mate. Where's exact? Oh, just take the £20 for £1. Just take the fucking £20. And you get to the bus and you finally get to the club and it's free entry before 10, right? And it's like 10 to 10. And you're like, oh, I'll go to the VIP queue because I'm going to be rich and famous. They'll be like, oh my God. And you get to the VIP queue and they're like, we don't know who you are. Go to the back. And you're like, oh, for God's sake, fine. One day. Right? And by the time you get in, it's 10 past 10. They're like, oh, it's £20 a ticket. And you're like, but it was fucking free left for ladies before 10. They're like, it's £20. Like, oh, take the money. Fine, I don't want to fucking be. Oh, it's just fine. Just take the money. And then you go see your friends like, oh my God, Louisa. And you're like, oh, fine, I'm here. I'm out now. So I may as well have a good time. I'm here. Right, and all your friends are like, go to the bar, and you go to the bar, and they do Cosmopolitans. And you're like, Cosmopolitan for £19.50. It's going to be a nice Cosmopolitan for £19.50. So you go to get a Cosmopolitan, some young girl behind the bar, she's like 12 years old, right? And she brings out a plastic cup, right? And just some bleach, and pours the bleach into a plastic cup. And passes it to you like she's okay with this situation. And you're like, I'm sorry, babe, for £19.50, I want an ice sculpture of a swan to be brought out from the back. I want an orangery for £19.50 for a Cosmopolitan, but you can't say that because she's some 12-year-old girl behind the fucking bar on a Saturday night, and you've got to be like, yay, feminism. So you've got to be like, oh, thank you, keep the change. Right, and you go to drink it, and you're like, oh, God, and then some guy starts talking to you, and you're like, the music's too loud, it's too loud, I can't, it's too loud. Right, and he keeps trying to, and you're like, fuck off, just fuck off. Yes, I have had a hard day, actually. Yes, it's been difficult. Well, it's just paper man, it's talcum powder. Talcum. And you start talking to this guy, and you get on really well. And you're like, maybe it was worth it. Maybe the night was worth it. I just had to put a little bit of effort, and here I am, my future husband. And one day we'll be sat around a table, right? And our kids will be like, Grandma, how did you and Granddad meet? And you're like, well, actually, darling, it was on the day that Granny had only shaved one leg. And she got on a bus and it was £20. It's a lot of money in those days. Right? And you're talking to him all night and it gets to 2 o'clock in the morning and you go, oh, so where do you want to go on from here? And he goes, oh, actually, I better get home because my boyfriend's waiting for me. Here's an idea, all you gay men out there, okay? If you're gay and you're out there, right? If you're talking to a woman who's clearly over 35, right? Wearing a sarong in October and only shaved one leg, and you don't look gay, okay? And you don't sound gay. I just thought you loved Cher too. If you don't look and sound gay, and you're spending the whole night talking to her, do us all a favour, wear a badge, dickhead, wear a badge. Fucking dickhead, wasting my time. I don't need another best friend, fuck off, but what I want is a penis. Jesus Christ. So you're like, oh, fuck, just get me home, just get me fucking home, just get me home. And you got to get home, it's like 25 times the surcharge. Like, I don't care, just take the money and stop at the kebab shop. I want to stop at the kebab shop, I deserve a kebab. I want a kebab. And you pull up to the kebab shop and they're like, oh, what do you want? And they try to get it out the silver bucket things. And you're like, this is not my first rodeo, mate. I want it freshly sliced off the fucking spinny thing. Thank you very much. And you get your kebab, you get garlic sauce, no chili, no pepper, just some salad and some red onion and whatever, some red cabbage. And you get that all in and you wrap it all up and you take it in the cab. But you don't want to open it in the cab because you don't want the smell for the driver. So you take the kebab home. You're like, I'm going to eat it when I get home. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be fucking worth it. And you get through the front door and then your giant Bernese Mountain dog that hasn't seen you for like 2.5 hours jumps up, knocks out your hand and devours it all in one. And you're like, why? Why did I waste my goddamn time? I don't know why I didn't just stay where I was. I was happy where I was. Yes, it was boring. Yes, I was lonely. Yes, I was celibate, but at least I was warm. I was comfortable. I knew where I stood. I was happy. I was content. And life made sense. And that, my friends, is kind of how I feel about Brexit. How I feel about Brexit. That and something to do with fish. Who is making these decisions, right? The people that make the decisions are MPs. And MPs, if you don't know who your local MP is, it's very simple. When you were younger at school and you had that person that would come round wearing like a tweed three-piece suit that looked and smelt like a paedophile, that's not your local MP, that's your local councillor. They're different. So if you look at our MPs, right, all they're supposed to do is represent an area. Right? That's all they're supposed to do is represent an area. So, for example, in this room right here, you guys would have an MP, you guys would have an MP, you guys would have an MP. And that MP's job is just to represent you. And the population in the UK We have a population of 68.2 million people, and we have 650 MPs, and they're just supposed to represent us and what we want, right? So who are they and how well do they represent us? Well, let's have a look at the population as a whole. The average salary for the UK, if you add up everybody's job and divide it by how many people they are, what do you think is the average salary in the UK? 20,000. 20,000? Higher than 20? 30 is 31,000 is the average salary in the UK. But here's the thing, the average salary is 31,000, but by the time they would take away tax, what you actually get paid is 24,000, which really bugs me because I wouldn't go for a job for 24, but I'd go for one for 31, so that's the first lie they get you on, right? That's the first lie. You get paid 24, and that works out about £500 a week, right? So it's about £500 a week, yes, £2,000 a month, right? And I just want you to think of this. Somebody very wise once said that you should never spend more than a third of your income on your living costs, right? On your housing, you should never spend more than a third. Welcome to London, right? You should never spend more than a third in living. Now, in London, the average salary is a bit more. It's about 39,000, right? So you get a bit more than 2,000. Now, the average rent, what's the average rent in the UK? Any ideas? 600 is about 968. It's about 968 is the average rent. And if you're getting paid £2,000, you're already nearly half. If you live in London, the average rent is 1,500, right? So if you're getting £2,000, I mean, you guys know what that's like, okay? So that's the average salaries, right? And that's for most people, that's what they're trying to make money work for them. They're taking that kind of money home, right? Now, MPs, what do you think is the average salary for an MP? 70,000, higher than 70, higher than 60? 80, 82,000. 82,000 is the average salary for the MP. Here's an interesting point. I want you to think about the jobs that you guys do and think about your employer. Does your employer pay you extra money to cover your living costs? No. Does your employer pay you extra money to cover your travel costs? No. Does your employer give you free sandwiches? No. No, exactly. No, right? Sometimes. She works for Pret, and sometimes she does, yeah. Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes. So here's the thing with MPs. So their take home, right, after everything's about 56,000. They work out, their take home is about 4,800. If you're on 182, you're about 4,800 take home, right? However, on top of that, when they come to stay in London, they get their rent paid for, right? They get their rent or money towards their mortgage. They get that money paid for, right? So that's not coming away from their 4,800. And do you think they're sharing with Northerners arguing about the heating bills? Unlikely, right? Unlikely. On top of that, when they travel to London, they get their travel paid for. And they're not having to get the 11:38, 4.5-hour service, right? They get the peak time, super fast train ticket is covered, it's paid for, right? And I have it on good authority that they get free sandwiches, right? So these are MPs. So who are they? And how come they're making that money? And you go, do you know what? It's great that they're making that money because you want the best people for the job. You want good people for the job, and you should pay people what they're worth. It's great for people to have a high salary. Why not? It's good for you to be paid what you're worth, and if you've got a position of power, responsibility, you should be well paid for that, right? So what are their qualifications in order to become an MP in order to do that? Well, the majority of MPs in the UK and the majority of Prime Ministers in the UK all had a very similar upbringing and background. The majority of Prime Ministers in the UK went to a private school. If you don't know if you went to a private school or not, it's very easy. Did you go skiing every 3 weeks? Private school. Did you go on a holiday once at the end of 6 years where you all went on a minibus to the Isle of Wight and everybody came on their periods at the same time? State school, right? Very different, right? 2 different types of school. Now, many of them went to Oxford and Cambridge, but they started out at places like Eton. How much do you think it cost for 1 year at Eton?
18 grand.
18 grand for 1 year at Eton. Very nice if you can get it. It's actually about 48,000 for 1 year at Eton. 48,000. Now, bearing in mind the average salary is 31, so 48 when the average salary is 31, all right? So already there's this discrepancy. Now, if you're looking at right now in our government, those in power, over 65% of them went to a private school, went to a school like Eton, over 65% of them. So how representative are they of the population when it comes to muggles? Only 7% of us went, only 7%, right? Now, I actually went to Oxford Uni, right? It wasn't to study, it was a day trip, and I went to have a look. And I saw the kind of quality of lectures that they received at Oxford University. And that's what you kind of pay for. You pay for education because you want to get a good quality education. And some of the lecturers they had at Oxford University was really interesting. So they had Mother Teresa on the wall. They had Mother Teresa came and gave a lecture, right? They had Princess Margaret on the wall. If you don't know who Princess Margaret is, she's the one in season 2 that falls in love with the gay photographer, wears a little Chanel 2-piece. Yeah, that's her. She's like very Jackie O, but with less bloodstains. That's Princess Margaret. And you have the Dalai Lama. You have the Dalai Lama come and give a lecture at Oxford University, and you go, wow, everyone should have access to that kind of great education. Wouldn't it be wonderful to grow a child's mind with that level of information and education? And then you realise that whilst at Oxford, the Dalai Lama was teaching everyone about downward dog and namaste, do you know who we had at my school? At my school, we had Fireman Sam come along, right, saying, make sure your grandma doesn't fall asleep on the sofa with a cigarette in her mouth. Otherwise, you'll all die of smoke inhalation. That's who we had at my school, right? It's a very different level of education, important all the same. So you go, fine. Well, what does education matter? Education doesn't matter. It's all about representation. It's life experience, right? Well, what life experience do these people in power have? Well, let's have a look at world leaders. Recent world leaders, we have, out of 193 world leaders, how many do you think were women? Out of 193? 26. 26 out of 193, we have 26 female world leaders, and that's recent figures, right? And that's supposed to be like a good thing. That's like a, yay, we got 26, finally, yay! Right. But however, like, why is that relevant? Well, because representation matters, because of course, you're gonna represent what's in your best interest. Like, our recent government have voted for pay rises. Well, that's probably the most honest thing that they've done. They voted in their best fucking interest, right? Of course you do. So let's have a look at representation of some of the laws. So why is that important? Well, let's just throw something out there. I have this hobby. It's a weird hobby, but I love doing it. I love bleeding. It's like my favorite thing. I like once a month, I just like to bleed it. I love it. Like, I have so much fun doing it because you never know how you're going to feel. You can be crazy bitch, or you could be really serene and humble, or horny as a monkey, right? You just don't know what you're going to get. It's a really exciting hobby that I have. And I just started doing it when I was very young and just started bleeding everywhere. And my mum would be like, Louisa, stop bleeding all over the floor. You'll never attract a boyfriend. And I was like, oh, you clean it up. You're not my real mum. Wah! I know she is my real mum. And I started bleeding everywhere, right? And my mum was like, Louisa, you're never going to get a boyfriend. You have to be nice and clean and hygienic. And I was like, fine, mama. So I went to this shop called, Superdrug or Boots or any kind of supermarket, really. And they have these exciting little things called Tampax, right? It's very exciting little things. And men don't actually like Tampax because they're scared of Tampax. And that's how we want you to be. We want you to be scared, right? Because actually, you don't realise how much fun a tampon actually fucking is, mate. You don't realise. You're there with your toy guns, your slingshots. A tampon is the exact same thing. You have to pull it back, push it in, pull it back, push it in. It's very exciting. And because bleeding is my hobby and my fun time, I'll pay extra for that tampon. So I'll say, have the money for the tampon, and then I'm going to pay extra tax and VAT on that tampon because I love bleeding. It's my hobby. I want to pay extra, right? Because you don't go trampolining and go, well, I love trampolining, let me have that for free. No, it's a hobby, so you pay the extra because it's a hobby, right? So it's the same with bleeding. Now, men, sadly, have this really difficult ailment where sometimes they can't get a hard dick. And if a man can't get a hard dick, that's a real issue for society and civilization. No, don't are them. Don't are. It's genuinely very, very sad because a man is born to fuck shit, right? He is born to, and in order to fuck shit, he needs a hard dick. And if men don't have a hard dick, then how the fuck are they gonna go to war, hey? We need men to have a hard dick. What are they gonna do? Go to the front line and be like, sorry, Barry, no. We need men to have a hard dick, and sometimes they can't get one, and they need one because they need to be able to fuck whatever they want, whenever they want, at any time. And they don't want to have to deal with the aftermath of fucking procreation and children. That's not their responsibility. You think they want to fuck everything in sight? You think it's their choice? You think they have any personal sense of responsibility? No, they just have to fuck things. It's a drive within them. And as a civilization, we support that drive because we understand the importance of it. And so what we say is we will give you free condoms because you should not have to pay for any children that you didn't want in the first place. And we will give you free Viagra because you deserve that, because we need our men to have hard-ons. And we won't charge you VAT for that, right? And so then you go, oh, that's why it's important that out of 193 world leaders, only 26 are women, because representation matters. And actually the best thing that's come out of Brexit is that now, actually, we no longer pay VAT on sanitary products, right? Yeah. It's a really beautiful thing, because actually what we used to do is we used to take that money, and it wasn't so long ago, I think it was 2017, 2018, they raised £15 million and they passed on that money to domestic abuse centres. But now, obviously, we don't do that because we don't pay for VAT, which is great, because actually what's happened since then is the current government has reduced funding and spending on refuge centres so much that 1 in 5 get no government spending. Because, my friends, you can bleed, but you can either bleed through your vagina or from a punch in the nose, but not both, my friends. Not both. We will only pay towards one, right? That's why representation matters, right? So you go, okay, so they're making these decisions. These people in power, they're making these important decisions. They're deciding what to do with our money. So who are they? What are their qualifications? So now we're going to play a little game that I like to call Guess the CV, Guess the CV. I love this game so much. It's so much fun. Okay, so think about your qualifications. Think about how hard you had to work in your job to get where you are. I want you to think about that, and this is what we're going to go for. So we're going to go with this one. They work as a photocopying sales rep. Photocopier sales rep. They used to sell photocopy machines. They offered a get-rich-quick scheme, so for £465, you can make £21,000 in 20 days. Get rich quick, and then Google blacklisted 12 of their companies. So who are they, and what job do they have now? Guess the CV. Guess the CV. No, it's Grant Shapps. Grant Shapps, head of transport, is who that is. Never driven a train. Okay, so they work as a marketing director for a distribution company for clothing. So any clothes that had cartoons or fun shit on it, they help sell that stuff. Guess the CV. Guess the CV. Who are they, and what do they do now?
Sajid.
No, close. Nadeem Sahawi, head of education. Never been in a classroom unless he was a child when he was a baby. This one I like. Worked for a PR consultancy firm for a tobacco company that was dodgy, right? So this tobacco company worked in a country, they had a factory in a country, and the government in the country was really dodgy and murdered loads of its people, was really horrific and horrible. This, well, hang on. Wait, you haven't heard the rest of it yet, but to keep that guess, right? Worked in the tobacco company. The workers were only paid £15 a month. There was uproar about the tobacco company, how horrible it was. So this person worked for the PR company, and their job was to change the negative and put a positive spin on this tobacco company and this dictatorship factory where people only pay £15 a month.
Reese
No. No. Pretty Patel is the right answer. Pretty Patel is the right answer. And what's beautiful is actually karma, because now that PR consultancy have had to hire another PR consultancy to remove the negative image of working with Pretty Patel. So, it all goes round in circles. Who else? They worked in banking. They loved their banking job. They were on $3 million a year before they became an MP. And one of their main jobs before they left was to help channel bankers' bonus schemes through the Cayman Islands in a well-known tax avoidance scheme. They did that. They did it. Sajid Javid, head of our health and social care. And this last one, I like this one, a trainee nurse, then set up a child daycare company, and has never been to a comedy club in her life. Guess the CV, guess the CV. It's a good game, right? It's a good song. Right, who is it? Yeah, it's Nadine Dorries, the head of culture, media and sport, right? And these are all people, this is their CV and their qualifications, and yet I don't know, like, Sajid Javid's never worked in a hospital ward, but he's head of the NHS. Grant Shapps has never driven a train, yet he's head of transport. Nadeem Zahawi, he's never taught a class, yet he's head of education. And Nadine Dorries, like, her job is to, and I quote, this is from the government website, protect and promote cultural and artistic heritage, right? And there is no one more artistically and culturally heritagey than the great works of William Shakespeare, right? And Nadine Dorries loves William Shakespeare, and she quotes him all the time on Twitter. That's her favourite place to voice her, opinions. When she called a radio presenter, a guy called James O'Brien, a posh boy fuckwit. That's how culturally artistic and heritage Nadine Dorries is. And actually what she could have done is use one of Shakespeare's actual quotes, which is a most notable coward, an infinite and endless liar, an hourly promise breaker, the owner of no one good quality, which brings us, of course, nicely to Boris Johnson. So you look at all this and you go, okay, well, who are these guys? It's not like they've got that much power anyway, is it? What can they really do? Well, what they can really do, mate, is they can take our taxpayer money and they spend it and they decide what goes where. So let's have a look at our taxpayer money. So I'm just going to write some figures on here very quickly for you. Let's get this all down. 76.3, 46, 63, 104. Can I get a vowel, please? Yeah. 3.5, 37, 127.5. Now, this is 812 billion. Now, billion, my friends, it's a lot of money. Yeah. I know. You weren't ready for that, but it actually is a lot of money. Because here's the thing, you don't think a billion is a lot, because once you get to like million, billion, trillion, like potato, million, billion, trillion, trillion, like it's all more than what I've got, is all I know, right? But to give you an idea of how much a billion is, 1 million seconds is 12 days. 1 million seconds is 12 days. 1 billion seconds is 31 years. Right? That's how much more it is, right? I know, you can't get your head around it, right? So if somebody said to you, for 100 grand, you have to have a hangover, for 1 million seconds, you'd be like, 12 days, okay, it's hard, but I'll do it. Or for 100,000, you have to have a hangover, for 1 billion seconds, you'd be like, keep the money, I'll play the lottery, it's fine. That's a long time, right? So here are these numbers. Now, these numbers are actually on the government websites, but they're actually really difficult to get a clear breakdown of what public money's been spent on. This is just public money, so what's the money been spent on? It's really hard to find just a clear breakdown of it. You can't really get it anyway. So these are some of the figures they've got on there. Now, this doesn't actually add up, but neither does Life, mate. So let's just keep going. Okay, so we're going to start with what did we spend last year 156.4 billion on? Any ideas? Sexy. Oh, I'm so sexy. Oh. I'm so... NHS, yes, NHS. I was being like a doctor, like a sexy doctor. What did we spend 76.3 billion on? Oh. Education, yeah, education. We need to change up education, because, sorry, but, like, Henry VIII has been dead for ages. Can we just let him go? Like, I feel like we've done the whole Henry VIII thing. Like, it's so boring. Like, actually, what would be cool to teach people about is more important stuff. Like, what kids are seeing at eye level. So they're seeing, like, Daily Mail headlines at eye level, yet we're not teaching them about sex or consent, because we think, oh, that's not appropriate to teach them. And you go, well, hang on, kids are doing sex stuff anyway, like whether we're there or not, they're doing it anyway, they're exploring their bodies anyway. Would it not be better to teach them about love, like love between different people, love between same sexes, opposite sexes? Like, would it not just be better just to teach them about that? That's natural from a young age, because what you do is you go into the supermarket, right, and at eye level you have newspaper headlines that say stuff like enemies of the people, and they're talking about judges, and kids are seeing that at eye level, and yet we're covering in black, great big plastic the pornography, right? And surely you go, at this level, you've got magazines saying, oh, look what plastic surgery I've had, or look at the cellulite, or look at this stuff. And kids are looking at that rather than, but the pornography is hidden. You go, well, hang on, this is the wrong way around. This is unhealthy, what we're showing. And listen, I love the Daily Mail as much as anybody else. I love the Daily Mail, right? It's my favourite newspaper, and everybody says the Daily Mail is full of shit, and I'm sorry, that newspaper has got the most accurate horoscopes this bitch has ever read, right? But nobody reads it for the front pages. Everybody knows. Go to the horoscopes, right? But kids, they see that eye level, and that's what they're learning, and they're learning with or without us. So without us, now what you're having is this whole growth, and this growth of incel culture, right? This growth of people that don't know about healthy sexuality and sensuality, and they don't know because we're not teaching them, and they're trying to discover for themselves, right? So what you get then is two kids trying to have sex for the first time, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna do anal. And she's like, great, that sounds great. Yeah, anal's great. Yeah, no, I love anal. Okay. Yeah, me too. And I'm gonna do triple anal. Okay, triple anal's great. Bring your friends. That sounds really fun. Yeah, and then when we have sex, I'm gonna punch you in the head, and you say yay. Okay, that sounds great. I really like this. Right? They're doing it anyway, and you go, actually, surely that problem, that's our fault, right? That's all our fault. We should be teaching them differently. We should teach them about consent. We should teach them about love. We should teach them about the clitoris. We should teach them about erections. We should teach them about love. We should teach them about orgasms, right? So that actually when a child does give a blowjob, they do it fucking healthily, knowingly, and consensually. So actually, do you know what? That's going to be number 1 on my manifesto. That's going to be number 1. Right? Number 1. Teach a child. Teach a child to suck a dick properly, right? That's number 1, right? Right, okay. What do we spend 46 on? Pow, 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 pow. Defence is the right answer. Defence, yeah. Is it with an S or a C? I can never know. C. C, thank you. Is it? Yeah. Yeah, okay. 63, what do we spend 63 on?
Social care.
No, not quite. Oh, please, sir, can I have some more?
Charity. Universal credit.
Universal credit, yeah. No, we're going to take away £20. 104, what do we spend 104 billion on? Pensions. Pensions. What do we spend 263 on?
Right.
Oh, is it?
Right.
Roads, no, but good suggestion. Anything else?
Interest.
No, it's something, what's happened in the last 18 months? The big...
Brexit.
No, it's not. COVID related. COVID related stuff, right? What do we spend 3.5 billion on?
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans? Not quite. There was an MP whose husband claimed expenses for watching porn from their property, but there was that story. But that's not this, no. 3.5 billion is all the PPE that couldn't be used. So like it arrived with a big hole in the mouth kind of thing, right? That's what you get when you order shit on eBay. So that's 37 billion. What do we spend 37 billion on? Test and trace, yeah, track and trace. Track and trace, which amazes me, right? Because 37 billion on an app of track and trace. Sorry, mate, but Tinder costs 40 grand to make, so how the fuck have you fucked that up? Genuinely. It's the same app. Do I want to go out and fuck this person? Yes, no. Should I go out and fuck this person? Yes, no. It's the same app. Like, it's not hard. And this is my favourite. What do we spend 127.5 billion on last year? It's my favourite. Ready? Ready?
Boris's children.
Misophoculanius. Misophoculanius. Now, I don't know about you lot, right, but I worked as a receptionist for a radio station, and I used to have to do the budgeting and the accounts. And when I did the miscellaneous, what it meant was that I ordered loads of Sharpies, took them home, and then ordered more for the fucking office. That's what fucking miscellaneous meant. How the fuck have you lost 127.5 billion? How have you mismanaged this amount of money, right? Yet they don't give you a mortgage because you're not good with money. Mate, I've been paying £1,000 a month rent every month for the last 10 years. I only make 800 a month. Fuck knows how I've done it, but I've managed it. But you won't give me a mortgage, yet you managed to lose 127.5 billion. And you go, do you know what? When you look at it like that, you go, well, it's obvious, isn't it? Like, politics is just numbers. That's all politics has ever been. That's why it's so easy to just throw around numbers. How many COVID deaths? 150,000. It's just numbers, mate. It doesn't really matter. But what you don't really think about is behind every number, there's not just a person and a life, but it's their whole family. It's their friendship group. It's everybody around them. Do you not think that affects the whole of society like a pebble in the lake? Everyone gets affected. When 150,000 throughout the country have been affected, that affects all of us, right? So you look at that and you go, well, let's look at politics just as numbers, right? So take the numbers, take away the pandemic. So take away that, take away that, take away that. So where's the problem? Where can we save some money? And it's obvious when you look at it like that, you go, well, the answer is simple. The solution is simple. Fucking 104 billion pounds on old people. Kill all the fucking old people, mate. Kill all the old people. Why are we paying 104 billion pounds for old people? Shall I tell you why? Right, because back in the 80s, when they all died at 65, it was easy. Because they'd stop working at 60, they'd do gardening with a little cushion on their knees for 5 years, they'd be dead by 65, it was easy, job done. Now all these fuckers are vegan, right, they're hiking every weekend. They're staying alive to 112, right? And who has to pay for that shit? We do. But where do we get the fucking money from? We got to pay for that shit. And you think, oh, don't kill Grandad, don't kill Grandad, don't kill Grandad, mate. Are you joking? Why can't you get on the property ladder? I'll tell you why you can't get on it, because Grandad bought half the high street in 1972 for £4.50, right? And now he makes more money in 1 month's rent than you in the whole year of working from 8 till 6, mate, right? And who voted for Brexit? Who the fuck voted for Brexit? It wasn't me, mate. I was at Magaluf. I didn't know it was going to be such a big deal, right? Hindsight's a beautiful thing. I didn't know. But who did vote for it? Grandad, he was up at 7 o'clock at the polling booth. That's who. So yeah, kill all the old people. That's number 2 in my manifesto. Now, when I wrote and performed this show in 2017, I didn't realise that the government was actually listening and taking notes, because and you look at it all like this, right? And you go, it's such a ridiculous amount of money. It's such a ridiculous, it's money beyond, anything that we can comprehend, right? It's just numbers. Like, what does it matter? And then you go, well, behind every number is a person, right? And I never cared for politics. Yeah, I think I ever cared for this shit? Of course I didn't, mate. I wasn't bothered. Like, it didn't bother me at all. Like, I wasn't interested at all in any of this shit. And I started paying attention because a few years ago, I was with my mum, and my mum's Polish, right? She's not a cleaner. Don't be such a racist. Why would you say that? She should be. She's a very good one. And right? That's beautiful. She said, what's her number? That's beautiful. That's lovely. Thank you. And a few years ago, she was really healthy. Didn't smoke, didn't drink, didn't eat red meat, all of that jazz, right? She drank Jägermeister once a week for the herbal properties because we've got 27 herbs and she's Polish, mate. Don't fucking ask me, right? And she started feeling poorly and she went to the doctor 12 times and they said, there's nothing wrong. You're so healthy. Look at you. Like, go home. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. And my mum begged, she was into some freaky shit, so she begged for a camera up her bum, because she was, like, freaky, aka a colonoscopy. And she asked the doctor for one. They said, you don't need one. And she kept saying, look, can I just have one? Like, I'd like one. And so she got a colonoscopy appointment, but it was in 6 weeks' time. And I don't know if it's having immigrant parents, or maybe every parent is like this, or it's a generational thing. But they don't want to kick up a fuss, right? They just get on with the work. They just get on with keep working. And 6 weeks isn't short enough that you relax and don't worry, but it's not long enough that you go, do you know what, can you move it forward? You just go, do you know what, 6 weeks, I'll leave it, I'll wait. And she waited 6 weeks, and then she went for the appointment with the colonoscopy machine, and the nurse said, this isn't an appointment for a colonoscopy, and it's an appointment with me to see if you warrant one. I don't think that you warrant one, go home. At which point my mum started crying and said, how sick do I have to be before somebody takes me seriously? They said, not a problem, you don't look sick to me, you're not bleeding anywhere, go back and see your GP, make an appointment there. Here's the thing, the colonoscopy machine, I always found it bizarre that when you have to have a treatment, you have to wait like 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 3 months, because you go, or maybe they need to wait because, something needs to happen in my body in order for me to be ready for the operation or with the procedure. And it's never that. If the Queen needed a colonoscopy, she would have one there and then. It's probably in a bathroom. She's into some weird shit too, mate. It's probably there. You could have one now. If you needed a scan, you could have it today. You could have it this afternoon. The machines are there. They're right there. The wait is the number of people in front of you waiting to use that one machine. That's the number of people in front of you. It's like getting into a club. It's the same issue, right? And so I just took her to A&E, and she was like, I don't want to kick up a fuss. Please don't make a big fuss. And I was like, you're not making a fuss. I'm making a fucking fuss. We're going to A&E. Like, this isn't, like, you don't worry. I'm going to shout for you. You don't need to worry. I got this. And she was like, thank you, Louise. And I took her to A&E, and they did a scan, and they said, you've got a mass in your stomach and a mass in your bowels. And we were like, what's that mean? It means you've got cancer. Wow, okay, so what does that mean? It means you have to wait to see an oncologist before you get any treatment. An oncologist is a cancer specialist, but he only works on Mondays, and he's not available for the next 3 weeks, but that third week is a bank holiday, so you'll have to wait 4 weeks to see an oncologist. So you go, oh shit, okay, well that's okay, 4 weeks cancer, okay. And then we can find out what treatment, and you can't access treatment or a routine or any support network until you've seen the oncologist, right? Everything in the UK is often very structured. You have to go through a tick list of things. There's a procedure in place, right? It's supposed to keep people safe. So they sent her home with Calpol. And I was like, Calpol for cancer. And they were like, it's easy to digest. Like, it's easy on the stomach to digest. When you've got stomach cancer, it can be difficult, so it's easier. Sent her home, and I was like, right, I'm going to read all the stuff about cancer treatment. And in Poland, they treat people with these UV lines of, IV bags, of vitamin C, high dosage vitamin C, because often if you're having cancer treatment, you die from the treatment, not from the cancer. You die because your immune system is poor, so you get pneumonia, and you die from a secondary illness, right? So in Poland, they boost your immune system to make sure that you can handle the treatment, because it can be quite vigorous on people. So I ordered all these IV bags from Poland, this vitamin C that came with these saline bags, and I read this thing about cannabis oil, and I'm talking about pure cannabis oil. Now, I've never done drugs. I've never been into drugs. It's not been my thing. I used to be on the dance floor like 3 a.m, being like, set you free, drinking loads of water, and they'd be like, have you got any pills? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just love the song. Like, I didn't get it, right? And I dated a guy once who worked in Pizza Hut for 12 years and always smoked weed. But I mean, that probably explains why he worked in Pizza Hut for 12 years. But, you know, he loved it there. He was very happy. But he was also very chilled and very lovely. So, but cannabis oil, it's not the stuff you smoke, it's the pure oil. It's like tar. It's really thick tar oil, right? It's the purest oil of the bud. And I was like, right, I need to get hold of some, because I'd spoken to somebody that used it for their family, and I'd heard the story of this guy who had a tumour on his nose, and he used the oil. He put the oil on the tumour. The skin around the tumour started separating away from his face. At this point, if it was me, I'd be like, I've fucked my face. I have fucked my face. The skin started peeling away. The tumour came together, plopped off his nose, and then the skin, right, cured cancer. So I was like, fucking, if it's good enough for that guy, I don't care if it's a fairy tale, like, if it's a friend of a friend, like, it's worth a shot, right? So I was like, right, I need to get some cannabis oil. So I went on Facebook and I was like, guys, how do I get cannabis oil? And they were like, Louisa, it's a Class A drug. You don't fucking put it on your Facebook page. And I was like, but how do I get drugs? And they were like, work it out. Oh, nobody tells you how to get drugs. Okay, so then I'd be like, in nightclubs being like... Anyway, luckily I found out about this contact about a guy called Druggy Steve, right? So Druggy Steve lived in Manchester, and he would grow his own cannabis, and he would make his own oil, and he'd been referred, he was highly recommended. I was like, right, I need to go to Druggy Steve's house in Manchester, and I need to drive there, but I can't have my own car in case they're watching, so I need to borrow or hire a car. So I called my sister, and I was like, can I use a car? And she was like, where are you going? I was like, the less you know, the better. She's like, are you going to get cannabis oil? I was like, how do you know? She's like, it's on your Facebook page. Oh, shit. I was like, well, yes, you're involved now, so you have to come in, yes. She's like, I'm like, you can drive. She's like, I'm the getaway driver. I'm like, yeah, let's go, right? And we drove to Manchester, right? And I was like, listen, when we get there, this guy's gonna be very dodgy. He's gonna be a very dodgy guy. Like, he's a big drug guy, very dodgy. I don't want you to do any talking. I'll do all the talking. And because he's a big druggie, he'll probably fancy me. Just be cool, okay? So we drove up, and I wasn't sure what to expect, right? But I went to this guy's house, and he had like a beautiful house, like just a regular, nice, semi-detached house, like just lovely, like it looked like just a regular, nice house. And he had these beautiful roses. The smell was amazing of these roses. And I was like, oh my gosh, Asha, like he can't be that much of a delinquent if he grows these beautiful roses. And she was like, well, considering what we're here to collect, him having green fingers is hardly a surprise. I was like, good point, well made. Good point, well made. So I was like, right, I'm gonna go and I've got to knock on the door, but like it's drugs, so like, be cool, like be strong, don't be a dickhead, just be cool. So I was like, right, do like a good druggy knock. So I was like, right, okay. Oh, shit. Shit. I've got to finish it, because if I don't finish... And Druggy Steve answered the door, and I was like, Druggy Steve? And he just looked like a normal guy. And he was like, fuck's sake. I was like, oh, sorry, hi, Uncle Steve. Just really happy to see you. Ha, 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 ha. He was like, get inside. So I got inside, right? And I was like, I bought an olive oil bottle. I've washed it out. So that's for the drugs. He's like, what the fuck's that? It's for the cannabis oil. He's like, no, I don't fucking need that. And Ashley was like, what are you doing? I was like, recycling. I thought you might want the olive oil. Because it's green. Like, I didn't think anybody would tell, right? Anyway, and then Druggy Steve was like, do you want a cup of tea? I was like, yes, please. Don't put anything in it. And Ashley was like, will you be cool? I'm like, I'm trying. I've not bought drugs before. I'm trying. It's very exciting for me. As the Druggy Steve comes out with a cup of tea, and I watch Ashley drink it first. I'm like, okay, it's safe. And then I drink it, and then he gets a syringe out, right? And it's a syringe like this much, and that's all. It's all cannabis oil in there. And there's 2 of them, and he goes, here you go. These are. You just need a rice grain, and you need to just gradually build it up, and you don't ingest it because you'll get very high, but if you take it up through the bottom, mix it with an oil, it does the healing properties, but without the highness. Like, it'll be easier for you to manage it, but you just be very, very careful with it. It's really potent. And this is £650 for this one syringe. And I was like, okay, I haven't got enough money for both of them. Let me get some more money out. And he said, I don't want your money. Take these 2, and good luck with your mum. Like, I really wish you the best with her. And I was like, Druggy Steve. But then, of course, that's how they get you, because the first one's always free. So I was like, So I went home, right? I go home to my mum, and I go, Mum, I got you Class A drugs. We're going to cure your cancer. And she was like, Class A, does that mean they're good? It's not like eggs, Mum. It means they're highly illegal. Highly illegal. Very different. What? I don't want to do anything illegal. Well, listen, don't worry. What we're going to do, Mum, is because obviously you've never done drugs before, and I've never done drugs before, and I want to make sure that you're not in any danger. I think maybe I should try it first, just to make sure that it really works. And she was like, oh, how convenient. My daughter needs to try the illegal drugs. Yes. Yes, it is. I was like, Asha, come on, you do it first. So I gave a little bit to Asha, and within like 5 minutes, she was like, I was like, oh my God, okay. So I was like, okay, I'll do a bit. And then I was like, okay, so I need more. Oh, it's not really working. Why is it not working for me? And then I got my 4th one. I felt like Bernie in the vet when they're like, Bernie's going to need 6 doses of flea powder because she is a big girl compared to all the other dogs. And I was like, fucking, and I think it got to like my 6th. And we were so, like, out of it, my mum's bed. And she came, she's like, I can't believe it, I have bloody cancer. And look at my children, absolute pillocks. What is wrong with it? Anyway, I started using it on my mum, and it was more effective than the Calpol. And I had a list, so I measured everything. I put a list of a temperature of every time I gave it, and I had it all in a book, right? I did it like a proper, was like, I've watched Call the Midwife. I can, do this. I'll keep a record of it all, right? And it finally got to the oncologist appointment, right? So we go in, and we go, oh, finally, we're going to get some treatment, some proper help. And the oncologist goes, right, okay, so 10% of people that have chemotherapy now will survive another 3 to 6 months. Okay, what about the other 90%? 90% don't get chemo. So they don't need it, or what do they won't make it beyond 3 to 6 months? But you can't know that your mum's cancer is severe. It has spread to her stomach, to her bowel. It is stage 4 cancer. But you made us wait 4 weeks. You made us wait 4 weeks. Maybe if you hadn't made us wait 4 weeks, then we could have done something about it. By the time your mum came into A&E, she was already at stage 4 cancer. It was already too late when she came into A&E. So that's why you made us wait 4 weeks. Because you already knew it was too late. Well, we need to try something. There's got to be something that we can do. I'm afraid there's nothing we can do apart from manage your mum's pain. And she'll go home and what? She'll go home and die. But no. She couldn't have the fucking colonoscopy because they said she didn't. You need to fix. I've got these IV bags from Poland with the vitamin C. I can't talk about that. Well, no, but hang on. I've got this cannabis oil. I've been using cannabis oil, and cannabis oil. The guy with the nose, and it dropped off on the nose. I've been using that, and I've got a record of it. I've got the Call the Midwife record. I've done it all. I've got all the record. I'm afraid I can't talk about it. But you're a cancer doctor. Yeah, but look, this guy had cancer and he cured it because he used it. I'm afraid I can't talk about that. But you're a cancer doctor. Your whole job is to cure cancer. I'm afraid I can't talk about that. Well, what the fuck's your job then? I thought you were supposed to try and cure cancer, but you're not. I'm afraid all we can do with your mum is send her home and manage her pain. And then I realised, then the penny dropped, that actually cancer is politics, isn't it? Cancer is political. Treatment is political. Because surely, if your diagnosis is a death sentence, you should be allowed to try anything that you can. And actually, you realise it's not about preserving life. It's never been about preserving life. It's about politics. And so we took my mum home and they gave her morphine on a syringe driver, which is a high dose of morphine. It goes into your veins. Within 24 hours, she had a fever, she was knocked out, she was delirious. We had to call a doctor out, and the doctor says, your mum can either die tonight in bed, or we can try and get into the hospital. She's reacted badly, and we don't know if she'll make it in the ambulance. Where would you like your mum to die tonight? How do you make that decision? And my brother said, look, if there's a chance, get into the hospital. We got her into the hospital. They took her off the morphine, and there's actually another drug that people give, but it's more expensive than morphine. So morphine is the one that goes to everybody, but not everybody responds well to morphine. There's another drug called oxycodone, yeah. So that drug is more expensive, but people respond better to it often. And you go, if somebody's on their end-of-life care, why are you not giving them the good stuff? Why are you giving them the cheap stuff? She's not even 65. Like, she's not checked her pension out. She's got years yet before she does that. Why are you not spending all her pension money on her care now? Why would you not give her the best now? And took her in, and they took her, put her on those, and she responded better. She felt better. She was better. She was responding. We were like, thank Christ, right? And then the doctors called me outside. I said, I can't believe that on the morphine. Like, she never responded like this on cannabis oil. And they said, you've been using cannabis oil? I said, yeah. Why have you been using cannabis oil? Because you sent us home 4 weeks ago with Calpol. That's why I've been using cannabis oil, right? What did you expect me to do? Just sit there and watch and wait? Like, I had to do something. And I go back into with my mum, and they're talking to my mum, and I'm holding her hand. And there's a knock on the door, and the matron comes in, and she goes, are you Luisa Omielan? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is such an inappropriate time for a selfie. The lighting is awful in here, for one. It's very fluorescent. Mum, sorry, there's just a fan. Like, she obviously seen my show, What Would Beyonce Do? So I just need to go take a photo with her. I'll be back shortly, Mum. And I come out the room and I'm like, come on, let's take a selfie from above with a filter. And she's like, no, I don't know who you are. I've never heard of you. I don't know what you're talking about. What would Beyonce do? It's a show. It actually was on TV at midnight 3 days ago, actually. Well, never heard of you. The police have arrived. What do you mean the police? They've come to arrest you. The doctor has, right? The doctor has put in a formal complaint, and they've started a protocol that I can't stop. So they've come to arrest you. I'd like to get you out of here. No, don't take me to the night. No, she's dying. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. I don't want to do this, but they've started a protocol that I can't stop. All I can do is pretend that I haven't seen you. Come with me. I'm going to put you in the staff room. Just come with me. She put me in the staff room and locked me in a fucking cupboard. I was like, hello. She locked me in a cupboard. Then my sister calls. She's like, where are you? My sister worked for the NHS. And I was like, how? I'm stuck in a cupboard. And she was like, why are you stuck in a cupboard? Because the police are here. Why are the police here? Because I told the doctor about cannabis oil. Why would you? Oh, it's a long story. I'm just stuck in a cupboard. Can you help me? She's like, no, you'll go down for this. I know, but she's coming to get me. And because she worked in the same hospital, she knew what cupboard I was in. So she came and got me out, right? And I was like, oh my God, the police, what am I going to do? She's like, oh, Louisa, I can't. This is not fair that they're coming after you. Like, I was your getaway driver. That's not fair. Like, that's not fair. They can't. I was like, no, Ashton, no, you can't take the blame for this. Like, no, because you work for the NHS. It's really important. Like, they can't come after you. They can't know that you had anything to do with this, but I did, Louise. I was there with you. No, you, Ashton. Listen, you work for the NHS. You save lives. I mean, you're a physiotherapist, so it's slightly different, but still, knees are important. Go, save yours. I'm a comedian. Nobody cares if I have a criminal record. And she was like, are you sure you don't mind if I leave you on your own? I was like, of course I fucking mind. You're the youngest, and you've had no responsibility for anything your entire life. You spoiled little brat. You can stay here and take the bullet with me, right? Anyway, the nurse came back and said the police have gone. The day before my mum got diagnosed, I had a show that went out on BBC at like midnight called What Would Beyonce Do? And the policeman's wife watched it and enjoyed it, and he recognised my name, and he had some empathy, and he left and just said that we weren't there and left it alone. And I went back to my mum, who's all out of it in bed, and I took her hand and I said, Mum, the police just came to arrest me. But don't worry, because Beyonce saved me. And then we took her home. I said, I want to get her out of here. I don't trust her in your care anymore. And I took her home, and it was the hottest day of the year. It was 33 degrees outside. And I took her home, signed her out, And she needed water. She couldn't cool down. She needed water. She couldn't swallow it because it would just come back up. So I called at the hospital. I said, can you help? And they said, oh, you need to bring her through A&E. I was like, but she won't get rushed through. She'll be in waiting. I don't want that. Can somebody in nurse come out and give her an IV line? Nurses came out and they said, we can't administer an IV line because your mum has signed out of treatment now. It's 33 degrees outside. Give her some water. And they said, we can't do that. You need a prescription from a doctor and he doesn't work until after the weekend. If there was a dog in the car, you would smash the window and give the dog water. Give her water. And I ran downstairs and I found the IV bags that I had and I gave the IV bags. I said, I'm begging you, I can't do it because it's actually quite difficult to get it right to put an IV. I said, please help, give her. And they said, no, sorry, we can't do that. And I said, get the fuck out of my house. And I went on Facebook Live because I didn't know what else to do. And I did a live stream to my audiences. I said, someone help me. I've got the IV line. I've got all the equipment. It's medical grade. She's deteriorating. Can somebody, please, this is not the way that she goes, please. And the nurse got in touch and she worked in the area. And within 15 minutes, she knocked on my front door and I ran downstairs and I let her in. I didn't even check her badge. She could have been like anyone, right? But I just let this woman in and she ran upstairs and within 10 minutes, she had it in. She had my mum up, rested, settled, temperature down, calm, no longer sweating, resting, peaceful, happy. And the nurse said, get her into a hospice, get her into a hospice. Hospices are not paid for by the government and most of their funding comes from our money, from our donations, right? And I was like, I don't know if I trust them. I trust you. I don't know if I trust them. And I ran downstairs to give her some money. And I went into the sofa and I found £100. It's a big sofa. And I said, here, take the money. Please take the money. She said, I can't take that money. I don't do this because for the money. I do it because I care. I love the NHS, but I hate what it's become. But please don't tell people like what my name is about me because I'll lose my license. I will lose my job for doing this. That woman single-handedly restored my faith in humanity that day. And thanks to her, we had 3.5 more weeks with my beautiful mother. And we had her in a hospice where the care and the pain relief was taken care of and we could spend time with her and ask her questions. And it was a privilege to hold somebody's hand when they die. It's a privilege and an honor to be there. It's the same when somebody gives birth. It's the same kind of honor, right? And if somebody is an old person, old in their bed, that's the best way to go. When Prince Philip went, you go, what a life, what a legacy. You've been loved, you've had a wonderful life, you've traveled. It's when they go before their time that it's cruel. And what I never thought I would be thankful for or grateful for was the time that I had. And then the pandemic hit. And I look at all those people that weren't there to hold their hand, that weren't able to fight for the water, to say, please help, no, she needs you, that they needed somebody to shout and go, actually, I'm gonna make a fuss. They won't, but I fucking will. All those people in the whole of lockdown. And one of them is a friend of mine. And her mum got cancer in the pandemic and it was missed. And they put her into a hospice. It was late. And it was the pandemic and the lockdown rules were that you can't see them. So she wasn't allowed to see her mother. And my friend got pregnant with her first child. And she had to meet the nurse in the car park and give her a scan of the baby and say, please give this to my mum. And so she met the nurse in the car park and the nurse showed it to her mother. She was allowed to the window once. And then her mother died and she wasn't allowed to hold her hand until after her mother had passed. And when she was a corpse, she could hold her hand then. They could have some time then. So when they have a cheese and wine party, at what point do you go, we deserve so much better than this? Our loved ones deserve so much better than this. The agony of waiting for treatment when you are dealing with a terminal illness. That's sadly happening to thousands, not hundreds of thousands of families up and down the country, right? And I hope you never experience it. I hope you never have to experience it. But if you do, I hope that you know that there are people out there that are fighting, that are trying to do their best because they know we can do better. And our story is one of many. But the difference is I've got a microphone, so best believe I'm gonna fucking use it and shout about it. There was a hospice nurse that I spoke to, and her team had to retrain to sign death certificates. Because do you know why? Because they let the bodies pile up. That's what you said, wasn't it? Let the bodies pile up. I don't want another lockdown. And so they did. And there weren't enough doctors to sign off certificates. So you had corpses in people's houses in England, mate. In fucking England, in the 5th largest economy in the world, in England. And we ask for this lot. We keep voting for them. Surely amongst us, we could do better than this. Surely we can do better than this. I could do better than fucking this. I'm a clown, mate. That's my qualification. I actually went to clown school. I'm a professional fucking clown. I went to Chicago. Look it up. Second City, bitches. I did clowning. Look at my outfit. I'm a fucking clown, right? So let me tell you what I would do, right? Let me just tell you what I would do. What I would do is, number one, teach a child to suck a dick properly. That's number one, right? And if you're just tuning in, context is your friend. Number two, kill all the old people. You're taking care of that. Don't need to worry about that. Number three, right? We've seen how useful furlough is. If you are dealing with a terminal or life-threatening illness, I think you should be furloughed. I think your primary carer should also be furloughed. If you are dealing... Right. If you have suffered a miscarriage or a bereavement, I believe you should be furloughed, right? You should be furloughed. If your boyfriend decides to dump you on Valentine's Day, I think they should be forced to furlough you, actually. Right? So that's what I do, right? Furlough. So that's number three. That's what I do, is furlough. Here's what else I do, right? Number four, I would deal with inheritance. So here's the thing, inheritance. I would remove all inheritance. You can keep the family house, but you can't have loads of properties, right? So in your lifetime, you can make as much money as you like, babe. You can be a billionaire in your lifetime. Good for you. You go get there, right? You go get your dream, right? You go out there and you do it. But once you die, that money goes back into the system to pay for the roads and the schools and the people that travel to work in order to enable you to make all the wealth that you've acquired. Because you don't make it by yourself. You make it because a lot of fucking people join in. That's how you make that much fucking money. So inheritance gets removed, so then you can't get MPs. Like, for example, Jacob Rees-Mogg, that's worth 150 million. A lot of it is thanks to inheritance. He lives in the castle that's from the 1600s. That's been passed down, and grew up in that lifestyle so far removed from the reality of the everyday people that he represents that he goes into a food bank and calls it an uplifting place. Right? There he goes and talks about Grenfell Tower, and he says, well, I would have had more common sense to run. If there was a fire, I would have had more common sense. So I would take away inheritance. In your lifetime, you can make as much as you like, but when you die, it gets spread out evenly again, right? It goes back, right? And number five, I would pay 100K to every essential worker that we have seen how essential they are, whether they work in the local garage shop, whether they drive the bus or the post people. Or like if you think about the people that have kept the world going when we've been in lockdown, the cleaners, right? The cleaners, the teachers, the doctors, the nurses, the bus drivers, the taxi drivers, the road sweepers, the bin men, the recycling fucking bin men. I would pay them all 100K salary basic a year because... I'll tell you what they won't do with that money. They won't put it in a tax avoidance scheme through the Cayman Islands. What they will do is they will do nice fucking driveway paving. Right? What they will do is they will buy the Farrow and Ball paint, right? What they will do is they'll buy the nicer electric car because they can pay for an electric charging point. They will make their house and their lifestyle nicer. They will go to the restaurants. They will go to the theatres. They will spend the money back in the economy, and we will all benefit from it because everybody gets to a point where actually we're all doing a bit better. And then think about the mental health problems that could decrease if you didn't have to worry all the time about how you're going to keep a roof over your head or keep your baby fucking fed, right? And if you think this is ridiculous, if you think all of this is farcical, I'll tell you what's farcical, what we have got, right? What we have got is farcical. Because whilst you've got family members purchasing coffins on Zoom, trying to find an appropriate coffin for their loved one to bury them and watch the funeral from online and not be there with each other to hold somebody's hand or hug them, those people in power thought it was appropriate to send a suitcase to a local supermarket to fill it up with alcohol so they can all have a party together because you know what? They need to let off steam. It's been a tough week. It's been a tough week at work, hasn't it? Officers pinning down women at a protest, protesting for their safety, pinning down women to the floor. Those same police officers are opening the door to number 10 to say, come on in, people of power, there's a party in there waiting for you. Have you brought your own bottle? In you go, mate, right? Whilst there are people drowning in the English Channel, people, not rats, not them, people, human beings drowning in the English Channel, people in power want to make it harder for you to try and save them. They want to be able to convict you if you try and help them. Whilst most of us have suffered throughout the pandemic, right? And you've been looking at the same four walls, and you go, how am I going to manage? How am I going to cope to pay my rent, to look after my family, to feed my children? How am I going to manage to do that? So you support the footballer who's going, let me give free school meals. Let's have free school meals, guys. You support a footballer saying, let's have free school meals. We can do this together. Come on, let's do this. Whilst we're fighting for free school meals, people in power are getting dodgy donations to buy £800 a roll wallpaper so they can decorate their flat that we paid for. Whilst 99% of the world population has become worse off from the lockdowns, have become poorer from and will continue to find it a struggle because energy prices, because fuel prices, everything's going to get more difficult for us. It's going to be harder for us. The 10 richest men in the world have doubled their wealth. At what point do we go, do you know what? I think we deserve better. I think we can do better. Because not everybody with power or money is a complete dick, right? There's lots of great people in the world. There's lots of good people. You can have all those things and be good and be kind and have values. But the values of what we're seeing now, it doesn't matter who's the face of it. The body is corrupt. The system has all been corrupt. It's been in place for a while. There's plenty of good people. Look at that nurse that changed the course of my life for how I feel about things. That nurse isn't on 81k a year. She's on 33 if she's lucky. She's a good person, but she did something illegal. It was illegal to do the right thing. And I guess that's what I want to leave you on, is to do the right thing. Even if sometimes it's not fucking legal. Do the right thing, because clearly, there is one set of rules for them and a different set of rules for us. So do you know what? Run the red lights, mate. Run the red lights. I'm Luisa Omielan. You lot have been lovely. Big love. And stay safe. Thank you.